Alright, what's going on, gamers? I am trying a new setup with a capture card, and we'll see how it goes. This is the first time in a long time that I've played any video games on anything, really. But I decided that it could be a little fun to try it out and see if I can record stuff. And so we're on the Xbox. I haven't. Maybe I better turn myself down here a little bit. I'm peeking. I haven't tried recording from my Xbox to my laptop yet. So that's what we're doing. We're using the Series X and the Framework laptop together to record this video. So we'll see how it goes. I have tried this capture card before, and the last time I tried it, it wasn't that impressive. So yeah, this may not even go up on YouTube. We'll see. But looking forward to playing some games. Obviously, one of my favorite games of all time is Garden Warfare 2, and we haven't done it for a little while, so we'll see how it goes. Obviously, something's acting up here. There we go. So yeah, always kind of, I've been so bogged down with computer science work that I have not really had any time to get things moving. So I'm hoping to post some content this summer on my channels. I would like to do on my main channel a, what do you call it? Aria Math uh something or other. Aria Math recording with a bunch of different instruments. But this time I think I'm gonna try. Well, I'm gonna try harder this time than I have in the past on that channel because I have 1,000 subs now, which I'm pretty happy about. But I've kind of just let that channel sit, and it's accumulated some subscribers, but I haven't really put out any content, especially this year. I think I put out like one thing this year. So yeah, we'll see. But this channel, I'm also, oh, I've got a few things planned for this channel because I made some drastic decisions. I suppose if you're watching this, you can get some of the insider info here. Um, I am still in the process of selling stuff, but I decided that I wanted a framework desktop because I love the laptop so much. I've been using it pretty much every day for school. So I thought I've had so many issues with my PC that maybe it's a good time to move on, try something new. So I decided that I'm going to buy a framework desktop. And at first I was like, I'm I'm never gonna I'm never gonna want to buy this thing. Like, why would I ever buy it? It's just a mid tier desktop little thing, and it's super expensive. But I don't know what put me over the edge. It's like I've never had good performance on my PC, my desktop PC, and I've never had consistent performance, and it's always been choppy. And this is like, I've told you guys several times, it's the 7900 XT setup, and I've had issues with temperatures. Rebuilt the whole PC a few months ago to try to deal with that, but still had some issues. So I think I ended up undervolting the CPU or something to keep temperatures down, or I did some sort of fix because it's an issue that's widespread really on the 7700X CPU. Let's see how this looks. I'm getting a little screen tearing. That might just be on my screen that I'm playing on here. Wait, okay, I'm gonna move my head up because you can't see stuff. You gotta see stuff. Here we go. How's that? That's good. I like that. Okay. I can see my face on the screen too. It's kind of weird, this setup. So I wasn't really expecting... Oh no, the screen tearing is on your side as well. That's interesting. We're just doing some tests. Just doing some tests, seeing what we got. This is a cheap capture card off of Amazon that I got ages ago, and I haven't really used it much, so thought it'd be interesting to get a little taste. But yeah, it looks like it might not be the best quality. Who would have known from Amazon what you get? But yeah, I finally decided to bite the bullet. But the problem is the Framework Desktop, at least the tier that you would want to buy, is I'm gonna move myself again. There, maybe. It's so expensive that I had the money to buy it outright, but I didn't really want to just spend extra money on it. So I decided that I should sell some stuff, and I'm done with my PC basically. So I'm selling it. I'm selling all of the... Wow, look at those colors. Selling all the parts individually, and saying goodbye to the PC that I built. And it's a little bit sad, but I don't feel that bad about it. I enjoyed it a little bit while I had it, but for the most part I never touched it, and really I just figured it's probably worth my money more if I'm going to be spending more time on it. So I'm selling everything. I already sold. I had a bunch of parts from the previous build with the 1660 Ti, and I already sold those. I've been so busy I haven't really had time to sell the parts from the big Chungus. So that's what I've been working on. But I've had this semester at school has been absolutely insane. I've never been so busy. It's like right now, today I spent like 8 hours on a single assignment. And that's not like, oh, it's just a coding assignment, whatever. No, this one's actually like, I'm not going over the top on it. I'm just doing the bare minimum, following the instructions, obviously, and trying to get as many of the points as possible. But really, this one assignment was like 3 in 1. There were 3 parts to it, and each one was different. So it was a lot less than ideal, and it was a big grind. I think I spent 16 hours or more total on it, because this is not the first day I worked on it, and today I only worked on the 3rd part of the thing. So college is no joke. Like, I mean, early stuff, like first couple semesters, nothing. That's nothing. That's easy. Like, but once you get to the second half, like even in the first half of my junior year in college, it was like, okay, this isn't too bad. But this semester, it's just been overload by a lot, and I only have 4 classes. So I'm pretty excited for the end of the semester. It's been rough. This setup's kind of rough. The capture card is between the tearing and the yikes, and the latency. It hurts a bit. And it's like 100% the capture card because yeah, I'm using the framework laptop, which is USB 4. But I suppose I can tell you a little bit about the configuration of the desktop I'm getting. Just as like a preface, the framework laptop that I have has the lowest tier, I think, 12th gen Intel. But it still cost me $1,400 back when I bought it. Now, at the time, that was the single most expensive single item that I had ever purchased. So, and of course that's been overtaken by the framework desktop, which is going to be like $1,800, which is insane. And that's not including storage and Windows license. That's just for the system with RAM. And of course I did get a few things to spice it up a little bit and make it look pretty, but for the most part it was a pretty basic model. But the framework laptop that I have, the point is it's not powerful enough graphically. It doesn't have the graphics power to support gaming at all. In fact, I would say that the graphics on the 12th gen Intel are very limited. Like I can be near 100% usage when I'm recording stuff in OBS, which hurts a bit. And that's like 1080p input for camera and a few screen recordings stacked on top of each other. And really that does it. Right now it's doing really solid, although for some reason we're recording at 30 FPS, which is unfortunate. Thought I would be recording at 60. And that was less than ideal. I wonder why that is. Interesting. But yeah, so I like gaming on this on the framework laptop is just not really gonna happen. I mean, Minecraft you can do, but even then it's not perfect. So yeah, I'm first of all, I'm like really looking forward to getting the desktop, because I think I've been doing some research on the AMD APU that's in that thing, and as far as I can tell, it's kind of a little beast. Like, of course, it's going to be a major downgrade from it's going to be a major downgrade from, what do you call it? From my 7900 XT. Like maybe 70 or 80% slower. But I think okay, so one thing is that I don't like about reviewers is they will go through way too many fidelities and performance levels, and it kind of crowds things and makes everything unhelpful. Like, it's hard to parse through all of the data and figure out what you actually want to pay attention to and what's relevant to you if you want to buy some of the hardware that they talk about in some of these YouTube videos. So I plan to do some reviews on this desktop, which I'm supposed to get in like June or July. I am going to do a review where I put it at the settings that I would run it at, which sounds like a compromise. Like, maybe I'm gonna choose some settings that nobody would ever use. No, I have pretty high standards in terms of fidelity and frame rate. I typically like I want to be at 1440p, at least 60 FPS, obviously, and then if I can get like 120, that's ideal, right? But in terms of visual fidelity, I'm thinking like medium or high settings, because realistically, once you get to medium or high settings on any game, it's going to look just fine. And especially for more modern titles, they're like even Battlefront 2 way back when. You put it on low settings, you're gonna get a really good-looking game still. So even more modern titles are going to end up looking great at medium or high settings, I think. But so the plan is to do 1440p, because that's the resolution of my monitor, and that's the resolution a lot of people play at nowadays, because 1080p is almost irrelevant at this point. So 1440p, either medium or high where I can have it at high and still get 60 FPS. Because 60 FPS is realistically the minimum you want to be playing at if you have a choice. So if I can get over 60 FPS, high settings, I will stick with that at 1440p. Obviously, turning on FSR if that's an option, because most people are gonna just set it and forget it. In fact, I did some research on FSR because I wasn't really sure how it worked. Like I knew that it lowered resolutions to increase frame rates and then upscaled. But I wasn't sure if it did that automatically, like if you had to lower the resolution and then turn on FSR. But it turns out you just set it and it lowers it automatically. It does whatever, 50, 75, 85% of the resolution that you're running at, and then upscales using AMD's upscaling technology. So oh my gosh, look at that lag. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. I can't even walk forwards. This is crazy. I'm presently holding the left stick back, and I'm walking forwards. Somebody must be using a streaming service or something. Okay, there we go. That's better. So yeah, we're gonna try for 1440p high settings, FSR where we can. And we're going to just run it that way. We'll do one setting, one of everything. We're gonna obviously try a few different games, especially some older games like this one. This is one of my favorite games, and I still play it a lot. So it's always good to see performance in older games that people really do like. Not that everybody plays this game, but it's certainly one that I'm interested in. And, we'll do Battlefront 2 as well. I'm thinking of buying Oblivion Remastered, so we will try that. And, or maybe I'll get Game Pass and try out a few different games on there as well. Indiana Jones, I've played that on the Xbox series, and it runs at solid 60 for the most part. I didn't really notice any frame drops when I was playing it, so that's something I'd like to test. It's a visually demanding game, obviously, and it has built-in ray tracing that you can't turn off. And I did look it up. The APU does have ray tracing support, and you'd kind of expect that. But one big thing about it is a what is it? What do they call their architecture? RDNA. It's RDNA 3.5 instead of RDNA 4. So it's in between the last gen cards, like the 7900 XT, and the current gen cards, the 9070 XT and the 9070 XT, 9070 non-XT. So it sits in between there, and but that means it doesn't have access to FSR4, which is a big deal, because FSR4 is a big leap in visual quality and performance. So the fact that it doesn't have that, at least yet, probably not ever, makes it a lot less of a solid value proposition. But I'm looking forward really, like a lot, to testing the APU, because this is one of the first like cases where we can get really solid performance out of integrated graphics. And it's really impressive. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there have been a couple devices that have used... There have been a couple devices that have used the APU that you can buy already. But as far as I know, none of them max out the TDP. So the performance on those devices is going to be limited more than the performance on the desktop. And the desktop is going to have desktop grade cooling. So I would expect better performance out of the Framework desktop than any other device using that APU, which should be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what, you know, is essentially the maximum level of performance you can expect to see out of one of these processors. Another thing I'm kind of excited for is proving that my experience with AMD graphics so far is just a what's the term? Like a blip or something? Like it's not a pattern, it's just something that, I don't know, maybe I got unlucky or something. Because I've had just way too many issues with AMD graphics. And it kind of made me want to go back to my 1660, to be honest with you, because I had the 6750 XT, and I had the 7900 XT. Haha, that was close. So I had the 6750 XT, and I had the 7900 XT. These are both like mid-range to upper echelon cards. You know, they're not cheap, they're not too expensive. They're like the 7900 XT I got for $750. Which is extremely expensive. But, you know, considering especially the graphics card market right now, like the 9070 and the 9070 XT, those are a terrible deal right now. But they didn't improve my issues. Like especially, you know, I was disappointed going from the 6750 to the 7900 XT because I was surprised to see that it didn't solve my frame time issues and my consistency issues, and you know, I was hoping that maybe better driver support would come with the 7900 XT, but in my time owning it, I think I only got like a single driver update. So support is not better when you move into the upper echelon, at least with AMD. Better graphics cards in that case seems like don't improve your chances of getting more consistent frame rates. At least in terms of graphics. What would you call it? Graphics, drivers update. Graphical driver updates. And support. I don't think you get more support the higher you go up. Especially, you know, I suppose that would make sense because you have more people that buy the cheaper cards and stuff. But, it's still disappointing. You'd kind of expect if you paid a lot of money to have good support for the thing you paid a lot of money for. And, you know, maybe it was just my card. I really severely doubt that. Because it really seemed like it was... I mean, it could have been any number of things. It could have been so many things. And that's why I really like the idea of going to the Framework desktop. Because it removes so many variables. Like, that was the third time. Well, second time I had built a computer. Third time if you count me tearing it apart completely and repasting the CPU. Like, I had to tear it down almost all the way to get it out. And that's another thing. Like, the case that I had was less than ideal. It was really small, made things difficult. The motherboard layout. Yeah, it was rough. And I mean, I feel like I had all the best parts that you know, have good solid recommendations. Like, I had a Noctua cooler, the NHD15, that's like basically the best air cooler out there. I had 7900 XT, 7700X. I had a I think it was 650, maybe B550, I'm not sure. Motherboard from Asus. I had the goods, but it didn't seem like it helped very much. And, you know, kind of just going back to my 1660 setup with the weak CPU, it was like 2600, Ryzen 2600 or something. Kind of makes that seem like the ideal solution. You just, you know, have weaker hardware, but it certainly felt more consistent. I don't remember really having any issues with that setup. But in terms of the Framework desktop, I don't have to put it together really. I just install the memory. No, not the memory, because it's soldered memory. I just install the storage. It's an NVMe drive that I already have that I saved from my last desktop. And, you know, put Windows on it. Make sure that everything's working properly. Basically the same process as with the Framework laptop. So it removes all the variables that I contribute. So that's like... Oh, that sucks. Yes. So that's like me installing the CPU, installing the CPU cooler, installing the RAM, installing the graphics card, installing the case fans. All of that's removed. It's gone. I don't have to deal with any of that. And all the potential issues that come along with that. Like, I don't have to worry about thermal paste. I don't have to worry about any of that. And I've talked about this, like, that's one thing I really appreciate about console gaming. And sure, you can get a pre-built PC, but basically every YouTuber you'll watch, except for, like, I don't know, Asmongold, will say, build your own PC. Never buy a pre-built. I'm beginning to, well, I'm beginning to think that, like, 70% of people should buy a pre-built if they want a PC. Because it removes so many variables. Now, of course, you want to find a a brand that you trust, you're not gonna wanna, you know. You've seen so many pre-builts come with a variety of issues, but as far as quality goes, I'm sure you'll end up with a higher quality pre-built than you would if you just, you know, built it yourself. Things would just work better. But I fully understand wanting to build your own PC, because I'm the, you know, I did it. I built my own PC twice. But the thing is, the best devices I've had are the ones that I haven't built. I mean, the first time I built the PC, it was great. It worked perfectly. I never had any issues. Didn't even need a BIOS update when I installed the CPU. But yeah, I mean, that's another thing. You don't have to worry about BIOS updating when you get a pre-built. You just, I mean, it just works usually because they QA test it before they send it out to you. So even if it's an old BIOS version, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I suppose there might be cases where you have to BIOS update, but that's only like if your Intel CPU is about to blow up or something. And, you know, going back to what I said, you know, I understand wanting to build your PC, because I did it. And really, that's probably what set me, you know, yeah, I suppose it would be. It would be what set me on the path to building, or to being a CS major. Because I think I built my first PC in my sophomore year of high school. Yeah, that would be right. It was my sophomore year of high school. I built my first PC. And that was... oh gosh. How long ago was that? 3 plus 2? 5 years ago, probably? So, you know, a little while ago. Not too long ago. But, But, you know, I was watching the Linus videos, and that's how I ended up with my first PC. I watched one of the Linus videos. They had a bunch of different SKUs of PCs. They had one that was really cheap, another one that was a little bit less cheap, one that was kind of a mid-range, one that was just above mid-range, one that was upper mid-range, and then they had a high-end PC with high-end hardware. And I think I went for the upper mid-range one. Spent a little extra, because I was going to go for the mid-range one. And then I decided that I would, you know, stretch a little bit, save a little bit extra, and go for the upper mid-range one. And that's what I ended up with. So it was fun, and I loved building that first PC. It was a great time. My cousin came over and built it with me. And, you know, if you're interested in times like those, then certainly build your own PC. Go at it. But you have to do a lot of research. And I would suggest going potentially for a build that somebody's already tried out, you know? Like if, in my case, with the first PC, I really didn't have to do that much research because I just followed the list of parts that they had on LTT on that video. So I would suggest something like that. Like if you've watched a video in the recent past on YouTube that has a PC that looks good to you, I would suggest just like following the parts list on there probably, because usually that simplifies the process a lot. And you know, a lot of new tools have come out. Well, a lot of tools I've become more aware of in the last few years because I've watched more and more YouTube videos, like, you know, PC part picker we have now. It's easier to figure out which parts are compatible, but even then, you could end up with parts that aren't compatible. So I'm gonna grab my water real quick. So I would say that's the route to go. If you want to build your own PC, look up a video and try to find a system that already has all the parts together, or use PC part picker, and I don't know, maybe some AI or something to help you figure out if the parts that you're going to buy are compatible with the other parts that you're buying. But that's one nice thing about this framework desktop. Really, all I do is go through and select the parts that I want, and I know they're all going to be compatible because they're all there and they're all, I don't know, there's not really that much choice in it. They have 3 tiers. The low tier is a Ryzen AI Max. I think they have a Ryzen AI Max 385 and a 395 maybe. It might be Ryzen AI Max 385 and then or 365. I'm not sure what it is. And then the Ryzen AI Max Plus 395. I think that's the one I got because with the Max Plus 395 you get the 8060S GPU instead of like an 8050 or 8040. So I think you get more powerful graphics with the mid-tier. And then they have a high tier, but that's just adding extra RAM on top of things. You know, one thing that people have really complained about with the desktop is that you can't add RAM after the fact. You can't customize that aspect, and that's like the whole point of a desktop. And Frameworks, you know, their thing is customizability. Like with the Framework Laptop 13, I can, you know, my 12th gen Intel, I can replace it with something newer that has better graphics, like a whatever they call it, an AI something. They always call them AI now. I don't know. It's been harder and harder to keep up with CPUs these days because of all the naming weirdness that they're going through, like Core Ultra and junk. But I don't think really anybody's using Core Ultra now. Like, the common thing to choose is AMD CPU. But I got 64 gigs of RAM, which is like a ton. It's a lot of RAM, but it's shared memory. So the GPU on the chipset uses that RAM for VRAM, which I'm very happy about actually. I'm excited about that because it seems to me like that's going to ensure the longevity of the processor. Like right now, 32 gigs of RAM is still kind of too much. Like 16 is a baseline, that's really what you want. 32 is still too much. 64 is like way too much. Like you only need that if you're gonna be doing super heavy programs or something. I don't know, like maybe Photoshop or something requires a lot of RAM. I'm not sure. Video editing maybe, if you can get it all in RAM, the whole video. But 64 gigs is a lot, and that means that I'll be able to dedicate really pretty close to like 20 gigs of RAM to my GPU and be pretty comfortable with that much RAM on a GPU for a long time. Like you've seen all these people complain about the NVIDIA cards right now, and it's pretty funny because none of the NVIDIA cards really have enough VRAM. I mean, of course you get to the higher end and of course there's enough VRAM. But in terms of the lower end cards, like the what is it, 5060, the 5060 Ti right now, it doesn't make any sense for the price to have 8 gigs of VRAM. And really, an 8 gig card shouldn't exist in 2025 unless, you know, I mean, some people have said under $200 would make it all right, but I don't know. You're not going to hold on to that card very long if it's only got 8 gigs. Modern games really need more than 8 gigs of VRAM. And that's the thing that holds back a lot of the older cards. Like, I would say the only reason you should upgrade from an older card is if you don't have enough VRAM. Like, say you're on a 1650 or something and you've got 4 gigs of VRAM. You're going to want... I mean, even if you have like a what is it? I think a 3070 only has 12 gigs of VRAM. It's going to be a good idea to upgrade because that you really can't run modern games with 8 gigs. And especially in the next few years when we're getting more of these demanding titles that have ray tracing and everything, you're not going to want a small amount of VRAM like that. So I think having the shared memory really future-proofs it, because I can dedicate more and more free VRAM to it, to my graphics 8060S on the APU as I see fit. 16 is fine for now. I might like to have 20 just so I'm absolutely sure that I'm not limiting anything, because as far as I know 20 is just more than enough, and that's what I had on. I think that's what the 7900 XT had, so it'll be interesting to see how you dedicate the RAM on that processor. But yeah, like I said, that was one big complaint, is you can't swap RAM after the fact. Honestly, I can see why. Like, they justified it. Their reason was that they talked to AMD and there aren't modules that exist that have speeds and timings that match up with the APU that they're using. So I think that's a pretty good excuse. It's just not. The physics don't allow for it, is what they said. I'm doing bad. Huh. I mean, I guess that's pretty close to what I do, but I probably would. I might have been closer to the top. So yeah, that was a big complaint, but you know, another argument is that I think the smallest amount of RAM you can get is 32 gigs, which is, like I said, still too much RAM. I mean, maybe you're gonna dedicate 16 of that to be VRAM essentially, and that leaves you with 16. But I still think that's pretty. You're still going to be pretty future-proofed with only 16. And then obviously, as you get to the higher tiers, and that's another thing, they offer 3 tiers. Like this desktop is so expensive, I wouldn't really recommend buying it unless you really need it in a specific use case. Like, it makes more sense to buy a pre-built PC from elsewhere. But my biggest justification for buying it is my most reliable device I've ever owned is the Framework 13. I think it's been more reliable than my iPhone, which is really saying something, because, you know, everybody that owns an iPhone brags about how solid they are, how good the software is, how it just works. And that's not really true. Holy cow, the latency is awful. But that's my biggest justification. I really want something that works. I've had a serious like falling out with PC gaming, and I do want to get back into it. But I don't want to get back into it if I'm not going to use, if I'm going to hate it. Like, I don't want to have a device that I'm going to hate, essentially. Like, why would I even have that device if I'm just going to absolutely hate it? And that's, why I said I'm selling my old PC. It's like, because I really didn't like it. I had so many issues with it. But I look forward to getting a PC that I actually enjoy using, that I, besides the laptop, of course. One that's reliable, that has a bunch of it, basically all the factors that make PCs unreliable are removed. And having the graphics and the CPU integrated into one package removes one variable. It removes an extra variable of an extra point of failure. And it's the same thing for the RAM. Like, having the RAM soldered, it just removes an extra point of failure. Simplifies things, makes things more integrated, which is really, I mean, it's what you want to see. I think I would probably, if I had the choice between a framework desktop with soldered RAM and non-soldered RAM, I would probably get the one with soldered RAM at this point, because I think soldered RAM is proven at this point, and I checked the pricing on the upgrades, and the upgrade from the second tier to the third tier, so that's only RAM. That's not upgrading the CPU or the APU in any way. The first tier to the second tier is. They are charging like $6, just over $6 for the RAM upgrade, or $6 per gig, which sounds awful, and I think it is pretty bad. I'm gonna have to check the pricing of just RAM, but when you compare it to what Apple's charging for per gig of RAM for an upgrade, if you choose their 16 to 32 or their 32 to 64 configuration, and you check the pricing on that upgrade, they are charging $25 per gig of RAM. So essentially they're charging like 5 times as much as framework. And so that makes me feel good. Like, they're not going to be, and they promised that they wouldn't nickel and dime people, and believe what you want to believe. Promises, they don't really go too far as I'm concerned in an industry where promises have meant virtually nothing. Like, PC hardware and even just gaming, like gaming promises in gaming and promises in PC hardware have never really turned out. They're always wishy-washy. They're never very certain. So, I don't hold out high hopes that Framework is going to stay a good company forever. But right now, I am very happy with their products. And honestly, the other thing is, it makes sense for me to buy the desktop because I already have a ton of the expansion cards. I have a lot. And now I can, just use them with one more device. And really, the expansion cards are awesome, dude. They make you feel like a boss. Like, I go to school and I've got an expansion card for everything. If a professor needs need some help with their computer, I can hand them my expansion card, because it, you know, really it does work with any device that has a USB-C on it. So it's really cool, and I do swap them a lot more now than I did before. I use right now my configuration is pretty strange. I have an audio expansion card. I have, which is what my headset's connected to. I have the storage expansion card, so 256 gig, and I'm using that for all of my video recordings. I have a USB-A that used to be an HDMI, but I decided to just use the what do you call it? The dongle that I have, because I was already plugging the dongle into it to connect up to some of my PC screens and peripherals more easily. So I figured I would just use it instead of the expansion card, and then, you know, I swapped it out with the USB-A, and now I can use the USB-A to record this stuff. So I'm happy about that. We'll see how this recording turns out, but I've said a lot of stuff, so I hope that it turns out all right. that tearing is so strange. I can't understand that. But I think it makes so much sense for me, or really anybody that has a framework that either doesn't have a desktop or really doesn't like their current PC, to get one. I mean, I think that's where it makes the most sense. If you have a framework laptop of any kind, it could be a 13 or a 16, or they're coming out with a 12 as well, so that's going to be an option. But I think it's a good pairing, because it lets you take advantage of some of the things that you already have, and makes things easy. So obviously I'm hoping that the performance is up to snuff. I will be happy, but still slightly disappointed if I can't get over 1440p 60 with FSR or whatever enabled. Maybe like medium to high settings. I expect that I will be able to, but it's like, I think it's 4060. It might be 4060 mobile performance. So depending on that, I don't know. We'll kind of see. Because there's a lot of speculation, and really only the testing that I think I'm planning to do is going to clear that up. It's 100% speculation right now, and I have no idea whether I'm right. I mean, honestly, I expect 1440p 60, whether that be native or with upscaling. Like, either way, on this game I expect 1440p, like, I don't know, probably at least 120, but maybe close to 200 FPS on medium or high settings. The Xbox, I can get 120 FPS. So, and this is an old game, so I expect to get better frame rates for sure. I don't know about the modern AAAs though. I mean, they do have better upscaling technology, so I could probably get FSR 3.1, 3.5, maybe? I don't remember. It's some FSR something. 3 point something. So I expect to be able to use that on a lot of the more modern AAAs, and that'll probably be. I think FSR performance is 50% resolution scale. That might be for FSR 4. I'm not sure. I have a basic knowledge of this stuff. Uh-oh. Ah. But yeah, on this game, probably at least 120. That's what I expect. On the... Let's see. What's a difficult game I have? Battlefront 2, despite its age, is pretty graphically demanding, especially at higher settings. So, and on the Xbox Series, I get 60 FPS. So probably expecting closer to 60 FPS, maybe 75 on high settings. It all kind of depends. I mean, I could probably get close to 120. Maybe it's okay. Probably meet in the middle. It's probably gonna be around 100 FPS. For Battlefront 2, high settings. That's my expectation. No, that guy's so much smarter than me. He's a hot rod chomper and I didn't kill him? Oh man. There we go. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle does require base level ray tracing. And AMD is not known for their ray tracing. I hear that they are catching up at the lower end. You know, the 9070 and 9070 XT I've heard are at least comparable to the 5060 and 5060 Ti. Maybe a little bit worse. Yeah, I mean, it could be much worse, and I could just be completely wrong. But as far as I'm aware, it's like at least only a little bit worse. Because those 60 class cards are not good at ray tracing. 5060 Ti. So it'll be interesting to see how it handles some basic ray tracing. Obviously, I'm going to try out various levels of ray tracing because why not? It's eye candy and it looks nice. Everybody likes ray tracing, except for those that really want high performance all the time. So my expectation probably for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is maybe 75 FPS with because I think you can get FSR upscaling on that game. I think they have some software level upscaling as well. If not in the game, they have some on AMD's Adrenaline Edition software. I mean, I know all upscaling is software level, but I don't think it works as well. So, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, my expectation is probably at or under 100 FPS. That's my expectation. I've heard Oblivion Remastered is kind of rough. I'm not expecting 30 FPS, but probably closer to 60 at medium to high settings. It is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and I've heard a lot of people complain about that Unreal Engine 5 lag, the stutter, especially in the open world. Oh man. Oh, we took over. Let's go. So, you know, performance levels there probably going to be a little, struggle busing a little bit. That's my expectation. Just, I imagine we'll probably have drops to 45 or so FPS, maybe 30. I'm just speculating right now. I'm really looking forward to testing this thing, because if the framework 13 is anything to go by, this is going to be a really solid system, and I'm going to enjoy using it a lot. I've just loved the reliability of my 13. That's been the biggest thing. And it can do a solid job recording. I think I don't want to promote this too much, but I have a podcast. Everybody does nowadays, and I do it with my cousin. This is the one that I built my first PC with. And we didn't record this week actually because we were a little busy, but we have been recording every week for the last few weeks. And I record the podcast on my laptop now because I've dismantled the PC, so I can't record on that. But I had some issues at first. Some of the resolutions are a little strange on the 13 because it's 3:2 aspect ratio and not 16:9, which means the resolutions that you can scale to are not, they're all 3:2. It doesn't scale easily to a 16:9 aspect ratio. So I mean that could be fixed, I guess, in the same way that I fixed this. But that's one sort of inconvenient thing about the aspect ratio. I do think it's better for productivity, but has caused a couple issues here and there. Let's see. I've just been so surprised by the software that Framework has put out. Like, as far as I know, I think I've had it for 2 or 3 years. I think it's been 2 years at this point. That I've been using it regularly, like really regularly. And I don't think I've had any issues with the expansion cards. Like I think I downloaded the whatever the drivers were for the expansion cards when I bought the thing, and then I haven't had to touch anything since then. I don't like, I think they had drivers for the camera, for the audio, and maybe for the expansion cards if I remember correctly. And I don't think I've had to adjust anything. I've had a couple black screens, a couple weird things here and there, but usually I don't even have to restart. Usually it just sorts itself out, and that happens very rarely. So, and then like the fingerprint reader, I haven't had any issues with the fingerprint reader. It's 12th gen Intel, but I haven't had like, it doesn't lag really. The RAM supports I have 32 gigs of RAM in the thing, so that supports the CPU. It's definitely more than the CPU needs. Like I said, the biggest bottleneck is the integrated graphics, but I mean, it's a business laptop. What are you gonna do? You don't need high-level graphics. And if I wanted them, I could get them. I think I heard somewhere that the new Intel processor has better graphics than the new AMD processors that you can pop into the laptop 13. Which would kind of surprise me, but that's what I heard, I think. So, but I mean, you could get the, it's a processor, they all have integrated graphics. That none of them have discrete graphics on the laptop 13. You have to get the 16 if you want discrete graphics. So that's what I'd have to end up with, but yes. Okay, that was worth it. But integrated graphics are getting pretty good. I mean, I'm probably not going to upgrade until quite a bit later. Like, I still don't think I need to upgrade. And really, the main boards are pretty expensive. So that's one limiting factor as well. Especially since I'm buying an expensive... Like, I'm going to be... Okay. So, my PC... I spent buttloads of money. This is this is another part of the reason I feel bad about it. Part of the reason I dislike it so much is because I spent so much on it, and I didn't get good results. It hurt to not get good results despite spending so much money. So yeah, that's that. And despite spending so much money on it, I'm not going to, obviously you lose money on PC parts the second you buy them, and selling them secondhand, you're not gonna be making all your money back, of course. One thing to note is, like, that's not the case for my GPU. I bought it at $750, and right now they're going for $750 on eBay, and that's what I'm gonna probably sell it for. Of course, that was like when they were having a sale that I got it, or whatever. Sometimes they went down to $750, sometimes they were back to their original MSRP, and right now I think they are back to their original MSRP if you buy them new, like off Newegg and Amazon. I think you're gonna end up paying $850. I think the original was $900, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I think I can expect to sell it for what I paid for it. Of course, I won't keep all that money because eBay takes a cut. They take like 15-20% depending on what you're selling, and you have to pay for shipping as well. So I'm probably gonna keep like $600 maybe from that, maybe less, which hurts, but that's the price you gotta pay. I mean, either it sits in my house or it sits in somebody else's computer. I have auto aim on. What is this? Not auto aim. What do you call it? I turned it on for the other console because the screen's not as good. I'll turn that down when I go back to my main setup here. But yeah, I'm selling all my old PC parts, and it's still not going to be enough to pay for this framework desktop. I'm gonna be like $200 short, I think. So really, I'm spending $200 on this thing, which sucks. I mean, like, exchange a high-end PC for sort of a mid-tier PC, and you have to pay $200. That hurts. But I think with framework, they're kind of an exception. Like, you don't buy a framework because you want best bang for your buck. You buy a framework because you like what they do. And in my case, I just like the product. Like, I really like the quality of the product and the consistency of the product and all that. So that's another reason I'm buying it, is because they have a good track record with me. And honestly, a lot of the time I'm gonna sacrifice my wallet for some people, because save me. I already got that one. So yeah, sometimes I'll sacrifice my wallet for other people so I can tell them about it approach. because, you know, like I got the Steam Deck, and I got it when it was still fairly new, and I was able to give some initial impressions on it. And in the same way, I got the framework. It was still kind of unproven as a product, and you know, some people had talked about it, but really, you can't get a good sense of something until you hear more about it, and you hear somebody that's been using it for a long period of time, and you get updates over time, and the in the case of the Steam Deck, actually, I'm thinking about selling it too, because it's another case of something that I don't use very much. I do like it, and you know, if you're somebody who doesn't play, who plays a lot of single player games, if you play a lot of single player games, it's going to be a really solid device for you. And, you know, there are, of course, some compatible multiplayer games as well, but the problem is so many of the multiplayer games have anti-cheat software, and that just does not jive with the Steam Deck, which I'm unhappy about. That's the biggest thing. For a while there, this game was playable on there, on Linux, but then they added anti-cheat software. And now it's not playable, which sucks. So I ended up installing Windows on it, and it's SteamOS is 1,000 times better than Windows on a handheld. If we're just being honest, like it's like using a console versus, I don't know, using the worst touchscreen PC you've ever used. It's like the screen is too small. If you bring up the on-screen keyboard, it just doesn't. It's not well thought out. Windows on handheld is just not well thought out. That's the thing. It's not designed for handheld. It's designed for desktop. It's designed to be used with a keyboard and mouse. If you have to use an on-screen keyboard on Windows, it doesn't work out well, especially on a tiny screen like that where you can't move stuff out of the way, and it's just a mess. Look at that screen tearing. That's so strange. But now I can play this game on there. I mean, it doesn't launch perfectly every time, and there are some lag issues. I don't know where they come from. But there are issues with lag and issues with... And, you know, one other thing about the Steam Deck is that at least the original LCD model did not have that great of a Wi-Fi card in it. The Wi-Fi is not the best. So for online multiplayer games, it's not going to be that great anyway, because you're going to experience all sorts of lag, and yeah, it's definitely noticeable when you're trying to play this game on there. But I mean, it's nice to play this game. I like playing this game everywhere. So that's the biggest reason for me to keep Windows on there. But if I sell it, obviously put SteamOS back on it, because it's just so much better. And Windows also sucks on there, because when you're with SteamOS, you can excuse me. You can use the micro SD card slot, and you can use it very easily. The performance difference between games that are on the micro SD card and games that are on the system, the internal the internal SSD, the performance difference is negligible, typically, unless you have a game with like serious textures, and even then, I mean, really you're not going to be able to render that sort of thing on Steam Deck anyway. So in most cases, it's not. There's not a big performance difference between the micro SD card and the internal drive. But on Windows, not on SteamOS, on Windows, it is unplayable. Anything that you use the micro SD card for will be unplayable. You cannot put games on the micro SD card and expect them to run well. Like you just can't load anything, really. It just doesn't work. So that's been a big problem. So basically now I have like 0 storage. I have like 128 gigs for the OS and games, and so basically I only have this game on there now, which sucks. And I actually have a lot of Steam games that I can play on there. So, and that means either I buy a 1 terabyte internal drive, the little mini what do they call it? M.2. It's like, what do you call it? NVMe drive, little mini NVMe drive. But I mean, and they're not that expensive, but it's like, do I want to put another $60 to $80 in this thing? Not really. So, right now, I'm looking at probably reinstalling SteamOS on it, even though I can't play this game on there. And just enjoying the games that I do have on Steam. I mean, it's like this game, which is my favorite game, versus a bunch of different games. Like my whole Steam library, basically. Which one do I choose? And I think the best course of action is probably to just put SteamOS back on it. One thing is, like, my previous SteamOS installation was kind of weird. It never loaded up very well. And so that was a big problem. It took like forever to load, and that's even though it was. I don't know why it was that way. Like, Windows loads up super fast. It's weird. I don't know why it took SteamOS so long to start up, to boot. Like, the boot would take like 5 minutes. It took forever. And that was my second installation of SteamOS on that drive. I'm thinking maybe I've got a bad drive or something, but that doesn't line up with Windows working so well, so I don't really understand how that works. Let's see. Holy cow. So Steam Deck, we'll see what I end up doing with it, but I don't play on it very much as it is. And I would like to play on it more, and I have games like Hogwarts Legacy and Spider-Man that do work pretty well on it. I just haven't had time to play. And, playing on the Series X is great. Like, this is the most consistent Garden Warfare 2 experience I've had. And I get 120 FPS. And I get 1440p. I'm hoping for similar performance on the Framework desktop. I don't realistically think you need 120, 144 FPS, whatever it is that you're playing at, to get an enjoyable experience in a game. But certainly for games that are competitive like this one, or I mean, this one's not that competitive, but like if you're playing COD or something, you're gonna want higher frame rates. It's just nice. It really does improve the smoothness of the game. And it makes it feel nice. Nice to control. But I don't think it's necessary. I think you can enjoy 60 FPS. So we'll see. I mean, I'm almost done with this semester. I only have 2 weeks left, and then I have finals, so by the time I'm done, I will have hopefully thought through a little bit better the tests that I plan to do. And I would like to put a lot of effort into that video because I know that I mean, it seems to me like a lot of people are not going to be buying this desktop, the framework desktop. Because number one, it's too expensive, and number two, it's I mean, they have like 8 batches that have already sold out. 7 batches. Yeah, 8 batches. Which says something, I think. But I think most people are going to use them for AI workloads. And I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't have that much AI junk to do. We're not going to win, and we're not going to win only by a sliver. Oh, that sucks. Look at that. By a sliver. Sag. But yeah, I think like big companies are probably buying them up and are going to use them for AI workloads and load some models onto them. I might do some of that. Obviously, I didn't get the high tier with the most RAM because it was just way too expensive. But I can see the middle tier working pretty well for something like that, running a small local model and training it on a few things. I mean, I am a computer science major, so should be able to figure something out, but I don't know what I would what AI would I even what would I even train it to do? I don't know. I really don't know. What would I want an AI to do? Oh, wait. Nah. I don't know. I'll come up with some ideas probably. But yeah, we'll end it here pretty soon. I do want to I don't think I'm going to check to see if I upgraded anybody. Can upgrade anybody, see if I can. I don't think so. I don't think I got anybody level 10. We'll find out. One thing about PC is the loading is faster on PC, at least for this game, because this game is running in some sort of compatibility mode, I think. Because this is an Xbox One version of the game. So it is running off of some sort of compatibility mode, and I think that slows things down a bit. Nice thing is we get, we aren't here, but normally I get FPS boost. Okay, so we didn't get anybody upgraded, but yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you sticking with me for an hour and a half of me talking straight. I have a lot of plans for the future, at least of this channel, and hopefully for the future of my other channel. I'd like to get a few recording things done. Hopefully make some really high quality content for the first time. I think so far most of what I've done has been pretty low effort, and I want to kind of treat it like a week-long assignment where I have a lot to do and a lot of polish and a lot of testing and that sort of thing. Obviously for the other channel, getting camera views right, getting audio quality, and all that sort of stuff, getting it right. So we'll see if that turns out. We'll see if I have time to do things like that. I do have kind of a busy summer, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned because I think we'll get some stuff out. All right, thank you for watching. Bye bye.